who has supercomputer type intelligence, to stay passive and not do anything, while someone like Mello moved all the pieces for Near. Light letting L investigate the police leads to L sending different investigators from the FBI to investigate the police's families. Light tests the Death Note again. By doing this, he sends different messages and symbols to throw L off his trail. Not only is this a way to get L off his trail, but also an experiment. How being a detective has to try and look at different theories behind the motivations of this. Not only this, but he also has to scrutinize over nearly every detail. By doing so, L ends up looking at notes that don't really mean anything. During this, Light kills all the FBI on his trail, and L loses the support from the FBI and his investigation. L ends up losing the trust from the police because the secret investigation L had going on is now public to them. Everything that Light had foreshadowed in the earlier chapters, losing the trust and the FBI supporting him, L reflects on his mistakes of allowing himself to look at notes for that long while Kira made his move. He then proceeds to find the last piece of his puzzle and ends up basically in one of the whole times in the series actually feeling mad as hell at Kira because he got tricked, knowing that he probably should have been involved with the FBI instead, but due to being so caught up with the meaningless clues, he didn't consider Kira making his move. So far, Light has actually been able to maneuver L and the task force. Now L has to reveal himself because he had to gain the task force trust back. Here, when L reveals himself, he speaks all about his thoughts on the case so far, and how him and Kira both are similar by saying they are both childish and hate to lose. Now you may be wondering, how is L profiling Kira as someone like that? L figured this out about the way Kira has been responding to him and challenging L directly. Each time L managed to hit him, Kira hit back, both having a good cat and mouse chase. This is why he never considers anyone else to be Kira once he finds Light Yagami later on, because he has a profile of Kira in his head. We now go back to Light. Killing all of these agents leads to an oversight Light was looking for, just in case there was any mistakes, which there was one. Naomi Misora, Ray Pember's fiancée. Eventually Light happened to find her. She had crucial information about Kira. Because of this, Light had to eliminate her. While investigating Ray Pember's death, they looked at security footage, and L is able to catch small little details, but still left L lolly finding out about this, and it turns out they had worked on a case previously together. L then goes to Ray Pember, who was investigating two police families, including the Yagami family and the superintendent's family. An oversight which either way hit Light badly. You'll find out later that even with all this narrowing down, there are many factors that change the game. Now we move on to one of the first times where Light and L actually confront each other indirectly with the camera plan L has to try and catch Kira in the act, or at least analyze suspects in their day-to-day life and try to match it with the Kira he has in his mind. Due to Light's preparation for literally anything that would prove he is Kira, he has a way of knowing if someone went into his room due to this double-layered trap he set. He is able to figure out that someone that isn't in his family was in his room. Light is able to figure this out because the person who went into his room made sure to make everything look the same, especially the paper he has at the bottom of his door. Light figures there must be camera and wide taps, setting up Light's counter-attack, because if killings randomly stop or Kira is acting abnormal, it will lead to suspicion towards at least different families. While getting ready to study, Light is having a thought process on how he will be able to act like the person who isn't Kira, making sure he doesn't make any mistakes and will have to kill people, but also make sure he doesn't kill people that the cameras see that he has seen. This means not looking at the news or whatnot. Something that is interesting while Light is eating dinner with his family is the way Light responds to the L's fake message to make Kira scared of the 1,500 investigators coming to Japan. Light responds by saying that the ICPO is stupid and should have kept it a secret. However, pushing it a bit further, Light says that this is all a ruse to put pressure on Kira, and also that Kira probably figured this out. L replies with interest and replies to Sutro that his son is intelligent. This part here is where L is really starting to suspect Light due to the profile of Kira he had established earlier, saying that Kira is cocky, is childish and hates losing. If Light is Kira, this is exactly what he would say, as he is basically mocking L. Not only this, but him saying your son is very intelligent is not only true, because he is, but not a lot of people would break this message down like that. But pointing out Kira, who figured this out and the ICPO is stupid, is now going to make L suspect Light just a bit more. However, even with this, L still needs evidence based off everything. A profile of Kira doesn't help without solid evidence. L even points this out a couple chapters later about getting solid evidence on Kira would either be that or catching him in the act. Light then performs the famous potato chip scene, which is being played out by a Light, making sure he is in the right position and does not show any signs of being Kira. Light shows one of his greatest strengths, which is performing under pressure and acting all this well. While Can L from Death Note catch Johann Liebert from Monster? Someone who was able to convince everyone he didn't exist and painted everyone else as the suspect. Someone who doesn't even have a known real name, at least until the end of Monster, when the mother tells Tenma, and we ourselves don't know his real name either. A mysterious past, with multiple different scenarios, is it possible? Well, let's at least find out why Elle would be trying to solve mysterious family murders anyways. El Lawley and Death Note went out of his way to solve the Kira case, a case that had mysterious heart attacks. As described in Death Note BB Case novel by Nishio Isin, El only goes out of his way to solve cases if there is $1 million on the line or 10 victims or more. By the end of Monster, at least hundreds of people are murdered. No one would be offering $1 million in Germany at this point, so this would be his reason on going to solve these family murders. In this timeline, Monster's characters are still in this, but the only addition is El going to Germany. Not out of character, as he went to Japan for Kira. Both of these cases are not easy to solve by any means. Johann Liebert is able to leave no trace of murders due to his way of killing people, whether a hire to kill or indirect or direct. It is usually hard to trace. El Lauliet, of course, isn't any average detective, unlike anyone in Monster by any means. Maybe Lunge being a high tier, but because of his fixation on Tenma and the perfect way Johann was able to make Tenma seem like he was one that committed the murders, Lunge might not be so high tier. Lunge was certain on someone like Tenma. Funny how Lunge also has weird habits like El and also fixated on a suspect, and they both believed they were right. Depending on what El needs, he may want to contact the police just like how he did with Kira. But with El Lauliet as someone who isn't an average detective, as stated in the BB murder case, El's ability in 2002 was equivalent of 5 ordinary investigative bureaus and 7 intelligence agencies. This is near the BB case, and this is stated by the time he faces against Kira that the numbers have leapt several more notches. At just 8 years old, being able to prevent World War III. This was before Whammy's house. As stated before, El's intelligence had increased as he got older. Johann himself is no psycho when it comes to being naturally intelligent, part of an experiment by Bonaparte. His parents were matched perfectly to make perfect children. This includes looks and intelligence. Johann is brilliant and a prodigy of some sort, not normal and overall excellent in whatever he studies, and the absolute best in anything he pursues. Able to quickly learn languages, and his knowledge in law and economics is able to impress Schubert.
Fucking pussy ass nigga, what you think this is?
Economical part of Germany. Which after he impressed Schubert
Nigga really thinks he can hide in a corner and shit? Wow.
It states that no one can surpass Johann in anything, which he stays with Carl, and Carl feels jealous of the attention Johann gets. El Lauliet, someone who at least doesn't care about dropping bodies for a case, almost for any sacrifice to win. Light Yagami was someone who was versing 2 El successors, who arguably are more correct, depending on if Light actually increased in intelligence after beating El, and El is greater or equal to Light in raw intelligence. That's how crazy this guy El is.
Then we also know in the BB murder case that to be considered a win for L, he has to prove who the suspect is, like in Kira's case, or proving the BB.
Holy
With this, we at
crap,
least know that to be considered a win for L, it'd be proving the suspect guilty. This is why throughout Death Note, with L lying about his
bro, your mom's a hoe.
Light, which he said was about 5% when it was actually 95%, or for stating that L is certain about Light here, after being psychoanalyzed. The only problem with this battle was L's ability with not being able to prove that Light was Kira. With Johann Liebert, the battle comes down to actually catching him. Something that even if you find out who Johann Liebert is, it's pretty hard. We know at least that L is very unreactive and won't fall prey to Johann Liebert's gaze, unlike Tenma. L won't freeze when trying to capture him.
I can't, bro. I can't do shit.
Almost anything. Almost like near with the SPK for blowing their heads off. The only time L really overreacts or reacts in general is finding out about the Shinigami, something that is mind-blowing and supernatural, and other times are usually just acting. While L is able to judge people based on reactions and put multiple tests for the task force to see if they were Kira, a genius in all things, including manipulation, acting, and psychoanalyzing, Johann Liebert is also not a slacker in this category. Due to his natural intelligence and knowledge, Johann is able to assess people's psychology, their motivations and behavior.
You're really there?
To learn of the weaknesses of Detective Richard, and throughout the entire encounter, Johann subtly leads the detective to slowly arguably wanting to take his life, proven by the subtle hints, hinting at his mistakes of the past, throwing in the rights of the person, and low-key mocking Richard, passively aggressively, hinting at the daughter he had at home, which he uses against him on the rooftop. How can someone who has a daughter have killed a young man? Of course, we know that this young man was someone from 511 Kinderheim, a torturous institution, to brainwash children and remove feelings and only hatred to make them perfect soldiers. And all of this subtle manipulation slowly leads to Johann isolating the detective. leading him to the bottle of wine, which makes him take his own life. This is the best evidence for Johann killing him instead of pushing him off, which a lot of people think, by the way. Johann Lieber himself is a monster. The monster in the series is Monster, the main antagonist, which uses people's inner dark selves and hidden weaknesses against them. This theme carries with each person Johann Lieber faces. With L, this won't be so easy. If L were to meet Johann, which we can discuss later, L isn't as average as all the people Johann manipulates, while Johann's ability to persuade and being a leader is second to none being compared to the next guy, that is, with L, who for some reason has charisma charts, as girls fall for him easily, and is able to persuade someone like Naomi Misora, despite her having no love interest with him. Just has charisma like that, which L doesn't respond to or fall for. And in quotes, too perfect. Johann Liebert, like Light, is on the appearance is a very handsome young man who can persuade anyone. For someone like L, this may not be the case. This is of course if they were to meet. Johann is able to predict precisely what people will do as he understands the nature of people and planned out his perfect suicide, which before was a goal. To be able to do things like this, you have to be very analytical, observational.
Hold on, I think we have that shit on the with PC.
He's able to control everything, which from the surface seems like it's natural, along with the previous skills.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Remember, we opened it up because Bojango's boy, he was a
PC.
had like the craziest.
The whole point of Johann is the appearance of the kind person, where mind is a monster, pure evil. L is not going to fall for this, however, if they met face to face. If you're enjoying this video so far, please subscribe. We have close to 6k and I want to hit at least 10k by the end of the year. Also, I'll continue to make some more content like this in the future. Thank you. L. Lawley would learn of this case and investigate it, first judging on how these murders are being committed, with them having no trace left. The question of if L himself contacts the police is questionable, and this